Hey Awaken friends, Chris here, and welcome to Your Flow. This is the second part of the Ascension Series. This class will build on where we went through in the first one of looking at Warrior 1s, Warrior 2s, mountain poses, and some warm-up places. And this is going to take us through the Sun A's and Sun B's. A Sun A and a Sun B is really the foundations and the building blocks of almost any yoga class that you go to that's a Vinyasa style. We use a lot of these movement patterns as we build our sequences and our arcs of our classes, building up to a really big peak pose. And if you can master the mechanics of this in a slow and steady way, as we'll take you on this class, then that will put you in amazing stead for any yoga class that you go to. And with this class, I'll step through this in a nice, gentle pace so that we can feel the mechanics positioning where our body is in space and time. If you don't already like and subscribe to Awaken Yoga, please like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel so that you can see more of this content as the YouTube AI connects with you wherever you may be. When you're ready, we're going to come down to a seated position. Now, if you can arrive into Hero's Pose, which is knees down to the ground, sitting back to your heels, and with your chest open to the front of your space. If this doesn't feel comfortable for you, please come to a cross-legged position or seating on a block or a bolster, whatever feels good to you. We're going to arrive into our breath here, and we'll just bring that in a couple of times. One of the reasons that we really focus at breath at the start of the class and we guide and sequence it through every position is that yoga and breath helps reset your nervous system. The main difference between calisthenics, which I love, and yoga is the breath and the guidance and the cueing. It helps us take us out of our mind and into our bodies and out of the life outside of the mat to this space that you've given to yourself right here, right now. So when you're ready, arriving in your seated position, let's bring our chest open wherever we are. And let's breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And you may want to bring your hands with me for this next one. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Fingertips touch. And exhale, 2, 3, 4. Opening your hands back at the bottom. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale with hands coming through heart center. 2, 3, 4. Opening. And just breathe a couple of times in through the nose, out through the nose, and feel this gentle yogic breath through the rest of the practice. Hands coming to the top of your mat, palms pressing down, knees will move back so you're in a nice tabletop position, feeling the length through our spine. Hips are coming over our knees, shoulders are over our wrists, pressing into our hands here, feeling strength back from your mat or your ground into your arms. Shoulders roll back so that we're not really hunching forward, we're rolling those back, and our neck is nice and long, not looking too high, but just pressing here. And inhale, we're going to articulate our spine down to a cow position. As we open up to the front of your room and your space, shoulders rolling open, and exhale as we bend back into this nice cow with a nice strong dome. And inhale, bringing that forward to the front of your space. And exhale, articulating back and through. And now just a couple of movements. I like organic movements to start a class. Inhales and exhales at your own time now. And just moving around. Maybe you want to move your hips back a little bit. Maybe bringing them forward. Whatever feels good to you. And feel around your wrists, your knees, your hips. Is there a place that's giving you some feedback, letting you know that it's feeling a little bit tighter? Do you have a prior injury? Is there somewhere that you just want to put your attention and your focus into as we breathe here? Inhale and exhale. And then bringing our knees together, let's sit back to our heels, arriving back into this nice, strong hero's position. Our feet pressing into the ground, length through our chest. Again, if this hurts your knees or your ankles, please sit cross-legged or just sit down on a bolster or a pillow. And inhale, fingertips coming up to the sky. And as we exhale, let's gently open our chest to the sky and exhale into a cactus position. And cactusing with our hands coming down to nice 90-degree angles. And exhale as we bring our hands through to a prayer and open into our lap. And inhale one more time. Fingertips coming up to the sky and exhaling into a cactus. As we then bring our hands through to heart center and opening into our lap. Now we're going to move into a down dog position. Your hands are going to come to the top of the mat, similar to where we were in our cat-cow. We're going to tuck our toes and we're going to lift our hips up. And at the start of a practice, it might be nice just to walk this out. Let's keep it a little bit organic. One heel might be coming down while the other knee bends. Gentle walking this out. Shoulders are rolling open so we can press up through our palms into the ground, straightening our elbows. Might have a great bend through our knees here as we just hold. Pressing our heels towards the ground for length and strength. Then exhale, bringing our knees down to the ground, untucking the toes, sitting back into our hero's position, and breathe. Now, down dog will become, through many flows and sequences, your recovery position, your static position, through a lot of sequences. So it's something that we start to build our strength through. But at the start of a class, knees are bent a lot. We just want to take our time and just slowly feel into it. And if at any time you don't want to be in a down dog, come down to a seated position. Yoga is not about pushing yourself or trying to keep up or trying to do anything else. It's about a personal practice. So flow with it. Inhale, fingertips up to the sky. Exhale, coming back to that cactus, opening your chest nice and bright, and moving our hands back down to our thighs. Hands coming to the top of the mat, toes tucking back. Let's come back to our down dog position for the second time. And now I want you to walk your hands back, keeping a nice bend through your knees, and bring your hands just then close to your feet, wherever it is, a nice bend through here, and then slowly let your head and neck release, and grip your elbows if you like, or keeping just hands down wherever they've arrived, and let's do a gentle sway. Maybe one leg straightens and one leg bends, and this is a ragdoll. This is a great way just to awaken your lower back, awaken your hips, get some dynamic movement moving through your body. And then when you're ready, come to a nice static position. Feet are hip distance apart. And on your inhale, let's bring our hands flowing up our shins to just below our knees. And we're just going to press back into our shins and feel into this long back. So we're going to string. Imagine a string coming from your tailbone all the way through and out. You can't have a perfectly straight back, but it's about having a straight or a long spine. And exhale, hands come down into a forward fold again. And with your forward fold, don't really pull in, no pressing, just gently release. And inhale, hands back, pressing just below the kneecaps, not on your kneecaps, just below for length here. And exhale, hands down to the ground. We're going to press back out, walking all the way through. We're going to come to a plank pose. Now, in our plank pose, you may want to start with your knees down. This may be the most comfortable position. So in this nice tabletop almost position with our knees down. If you're feeling like the journey is yours to do an elevated plank, then come to your toes. And remember, your shoulders are stacking over your wrists. Your heels are pressing towards the back of the room. We're feeling an activation through our core, through our chest. Shoulders are rolling back. And I want you to slowly, ever so slowly, come down to the ground. And as we come down to the ground, our elbows graze past our chest. And that's quite an important piece whenever you're coming down to the ground from plank. If you come down outwards to here, you put a lot of pressure through your forearms. And when I first started doing yoga, I got a lot of pain in the tops, like tennis elbow type piece. And it took me a while to realize that when I was coming down, because I did a lot of online classes and you can't really see in the camera, I kept coming down like that. And that really put a lot of pressure on it. It took me a long time to realize that I was doing it the wrong way by not grazing my elbows past my chest. When we arrive on the ground, let's bring our hands down just below our shoulders. And we now feet pressing into the ground, our thighs pressing into the ground, we're going to slowly raise to a cobra. And as we come up into a cobra, the cobra is elevating our chest, kind of like that cat-cow position that we did before, elevating our chest, but we're not pushing through our hands. We're not really pressing into this, because that way we're using the upper strength of our back muscles and not our lower back. And exhale down. And inhale, coming back up one more time. And as you arrive into it this time, see what it'd be like if you could lift your hands gently so that the strength is really through your shoulders, your upper back muscles, and not pressing too hard. And exhale down. And if you're feeling adventurous and you want to try an up dog is straightening our arms. And as we come to here, we want to lift our thighs off the ground. So our feet, our ankles are pressing hard into the ground. Our shoulders are open. We've opened our collarbones to the front of the room. We've got length coming through here. Really pressing down, feeling that through. If we're not feeling it through our lower back, it's all through our upper back. And exhale, come down. And tucking our toes, we're going to press up through our plank. Now, if you came through a plank on your knees, then you can just come through off your knees and then press up into down dog. But tucking your toes, if you're ready for the journey through plank, press up to plank, hinge at your hips, and come up into a downward facing dog. And walk that dog out. And breathe here. And then bringing our hands all the way back, walking them back to our feet, and rolling that spine, one vertebra at a time. Roll it, roll it, roll it. Neck will be last. As you arrive at the top, roll those shoulders back and open. And you've arrived pretty much through one whole sun sequence. It's almost at the full Sun A. Hands coming up to the sky, fingertips touch, and bring your hands down through heart center. And opening your hands up to the front of the room, and arrive into our mountain pose. Feet are hips distance apart. Lift your 10 toes, grip them into the mat. Feel the strength through all parts of your feet. Coming up, activate your inner thighs, tailbone pointing down towards the ground. Pelvic floor is active, and you're feeling your ribs lift away. Shoulders are open, and arrive into that mountain pose. And feel that long spine, your Savasana spine that we talk about in almost every single pose. Hands raise up to the sky. Fingertips touch as your hand comes down through heart center, hinging at the hips. We're going to forward fold, remembering to preserve that nice bend through your knees if you need it, which most people do. Might keep a nice bend here just to show you. And inhale, fingertips come up to press on your shins to our long elevated space, and exhale, coming down. Then hands walking back out to the top of the mat. We're arriving into our downward facing dog. And again, a great bend in the knees will preserve your lower back so you're not putting too much pressure into your lower back. And coming to the ball of your left foot, we're going to raise our right foot up to the sky. And we're going to bring that right foot all the way up. And it's going to come to our right thumb. Stepping it through. May take you a couple of times to move it up. But when it arrives up near your right thumb, our left foot's going to turn to 45 degrees. We're going to rise into Warrior One. Our hips are moving towards the front of the room. We're grounding through the outer edge of our left foot. Our right knee is tracking over our right ankle. And we've arrived into our Warrior One, into our space. And hands come down to frame your right foot. As the palms hit the ground, your right foot will step back to your left. We'll bring this all the way down. So slowly through to the ground, past Chaturanga with your elbows grazing past your chest. Pressing up one time into Cobra. And exhale down. Tucking our toes, we press back up through plank, hinging at the hips. And we've arrived into our downward facing dog. And breathe here. In through the nose and out through the nose. One more time. In through the nose and out through the nose. Coming to the ball of your right foot. Float your left heel up to the sky. And when we're bringing our foot up to the sky, we want to imagine our hips aren't pushing open. Our hips are still in alignment. They're in this beautiful space where they're not really moving anywhere else.
but keeping as static as they can, as stable as they can. And bringing our knee up into our chest. We're going to step it up to our left thumb, so arrive to the top of the mat. And if that takes a few moments to get it up and you've got to move it up, no problem. Absolutely fine. Your right foot's going to turn to 45 degrees facing to the right side of the mat. We're going to bring our hands up with our chest. Biceps will come up to our ears. We arrive into our warrior one. Hips are moving towards the front of the room, feeling the grounding through the outer edge of your right foot. Our left knee is tracking over our left ankle. And we've got strength here. And exhale, bringing our hands down to frame our left foot. Palms arrive on the ground. Left foot back to meet right. Your knees may be down, you may be up in a plank position. Whichever place you're in, let's slowly lower all the way to the ground. Elbows grazing past the chest as we arrive and pressing up into our Cobra position. And exhale down. Tucking our toes, we're going to press up into plank, hinging at the hips. And we've arrived back into our downward facing dog. Bending our knees here to preserve that back. And breathe in through the nose. And out through the nose. And walking your hands back to your feet. Let them arrive. Take a nice folded position here. And then bending your knees. Articulate that spine as we slowly roll vertebra by vertebra all the way up. Neck and shoulders are last. Arriving back into our Tadasana pose on the mat. Hands float up to the sky. Fingertips touch. Bring your hands down to heart center. And we're here. We've arrived. And that's our Sun A. And now we're going to do a Sun B to take you through this nice, fun sequence. Hands float up to the sky. Fingertips touch. And bring your hands down through our heart center as we forward fold. Again, down to the ground. Inhale, fingertips coming up below the knees. And exhale down and step out to the top of your mat, arriving into your downward facing dog. Heels are moving towards the back of the room, your mat. Tailbone up to the sky, shoulders are open here. And I want you to come to the tops of the balls of your feet on both feet. And I want you to step, hop, skip, teleport to the top of your mat. Bringing your feet together. Big toes will touch here. We're really going to bend into our knees, bring our hands down to the ground. We're going to bring them up as if we're flowing into that warrior one. We're going to arrive into a chair pose. And a chair pose, we're bringing our hips and our bum, we're sitting back so we can feel the weight in our heels. We're pressing back as best we can. Elbows are coming up. Our chest is opening to the front of the room. We're not really bending our spine too much. We're keeping length through our spine. So we're in this nice Tadasana spine position, which preserves our shoulders, it preserves our lower back, keeps us in alignment and movement. Sitting back a little bit further, and then exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, rising up, fingertips below the knees, and exhale coming down towards the ground. Now, from here, we're going to step back. Left foot first, followed by right, and we're in our plank pose. And then either with your knees down or from plank, elbows come next to your chest as we move down towards the ground. And this time you may want to continue with your Cobra, or if you'd like to move further, come into an upward dog. Feet and here, ankles are pressing into the ground, thighs are lifted. We've got strength and opening through our shoulders and our chest. And exhale, rolling over the toes, back into downward facing dog. And that's a different way of moving through. Instead of moving back through plank, we're going to just roll over the toes, come back. And then inhale here to the ball of the left foot, right foot floats up to the sky. And we're trying to focus in on those hips, not opening up, not moving around, but hips are in alignment. And then tiger curling, bringing that knee up through your chest. And then your right toes are going to come up to your right thumb. And this time, I'd like you to open your left foot to 90 degrees at the back of the mat. And bring your hands up with you and float them out from your shoulders to arrive into a warrior two.
Shoulders are rolling open and back. We're gazing over our right index finger. You might want to look back just to make sure your left hand is moving out from your shoulder as well. Our right knee is trekking over our right ankle. Hips are moving towards the front of the room. And we're strong and steady. And exhale, bringing the left hand round to the right, framing your right foot, hands down to the ground, left foot back to meet right, and then slowly coming down to the ground, pressing up into our up dog or cobra. And rolling back over the toes to our downward facing dog. And breathe here. In through the nose, out through the nose. And coming to the balls of our feet, we're going to hop, skip, or teleport to the top of the mat. Your big toes will arrive together. And we're going to bend our knees and scooping like we did the first time, scoop up and into our chair pose. And hold here. Breathe in. Preserve that nice long Tadasana spine. You don't really need to open up too far to the front of the room. Sitting back, feeling your heels really active into the ground. And exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Fingertips pressing into your shins to create that length through your back. Exhale, hands to the ground. And this time, right foot back, followed by left. Arriving in your plank pose and slowly coming down to the ground. Shoulders grazing, not shoulders, elbows grazing past your chest. Be awkward for your shoulders to do that. And inhale, pressing up into up dog or cobra. Rolling over the toes. And we're back into our downward facing dog. Coming to the ball of our right foot, our left foot is going to float up to the sky. And remember, we're trying to keep those hips in alignment as we create the length. And bringing our knee up into our chest, almost this nice tiger curl one time through our spine articulation, and bringing our left toes up to our left thumb. Our right foot is going to turn to the 90 degrees, and we can float our hands open into Warrior Two. Shoulders rolling open, fingertips coming out from your shoulders, gaze is over your left fingers. Maybe just check your right, make sure that's in a nice alignment here. Left knee is over left ankle, grounding through the outer edge of your right foot. Hips moving to the front of the room. And don't forget to breathe. In through the nose, out through the nose. And then right hand will move, flowing next to left, framing your left foot. Left foot will step back to right. And again, we're back into our plank, coming down slowly, elbows grazing past your chest. And one up dog or cobra, whatever is right for you. And exhale over the toes and back into downward facing dog. And this time, let's bring our toes together to touch. Our knees together, bring our knees down to the ground. If this is not great for your knees, please put a pillow on a cushion underneath, untuck the toes and sit back into Hero's Pose. We've arrived. And that's the sequences of Sun A's and Sun B's. Now I'll just take a couple of gentle cool down positions just to wind your body down from the work we've been doing. So just sitting here for a second, breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, and let all that energy and movement that we've worked through just slowly settle. Rolling over, let's bring our feet out in front. And I just want you to have your right foot out in front, bring your left foot up, and just put your left foot over the outside of your right knee. And then with your chest nice and tall, let's just bring our right hand just to the grabbing onto your knee. So there's many different ways that we can do this. We can start with it just gripping on and then just turning our chest to the left side of the mat. Let's go this way so that I can see you. It's probably better. So we can grip our leg here and just bring our hand back and just turn. If you're feeling more adventurous and you've got the opening, you can bring your elbow to the outside. So right elbow to the other side of your left knee and opening your hand up to the side. And then with your hand just sitting behind, chest to the side of the room, or gaze to wherever feels comfortable to you. And depending what your opening is, where you're up to, I like to keep my hand nice and high. It reminds me when to keep my chest nice and high. And then gaze wherever feels comfortable. And exhale. Left foot next to right. Right foot comes up. Stepping the right foot over the left ankle. And again, we can just grab with our left elbow on the inside of our right knee. It's perfectly great to twist. We can bring our the left elbow to the outside of the right knee and open up to the side. And then with our fingertips pressing back, turn a little bit. Wherever feels comfortable for you. Keeping your gaze to the side of the room is great. It might be perfect on the neck. If you want to gaze back to the back of the room, again, don't press, don't push. It's about what feels comfortable to you. And exhale. Coming forward. I'm going to fold forward. This is a great way just to wind down a little bit. Now, you'll probably see people who go straight down and put their heads between their knees with a modern yoga practice and how tight our lower backs can be from sitting. Just like in our forward fold before and our chair pose, bring your knees up so that as you bring your chest down, this is about keeping and preserving your lower back. If you just go straight into a forward fold and you're not ready, you'll put pressure into your lower back and you can strain it. So let's keep our chest nice and proud as we slowly move down, and then we just let our neck go at the end. I can't go into too much of an introverted space, otherwise the microphone goes all crackly. So I'll just move into this space here. If you do want to put your legs straighter and you want to put that, and you might feel that as a nice stretch through your hamstrings, that's fine. You might grip your toes, you might press into them, you might keep a nice bend. Whatever feels good to you. And then when you're ready, sitting back up, we're going to slowly come down to the ground. So rolling down one vertebra at a time, arrive into the ground. I want you to bring your right knee up into your chest. Just bring it up so it's up towards your right shoulder, to that nice shoulder crease. And then bring your knee to the center of your room, right hand up to the sky. Let's bring our right knee down to the ground. And then let's open our right hand up to wherever it arrives. Now, on the ground here, with where the right knee might be, I'll flip around again. You don't need to try and push to get your right knee down. If your right knee's up and it's not putting any pressure on your lower back, that's fine. If this is the perfect stretch for you, you can tuck your right toes behind your left knee and just rest here, using your left hand for support and gazing over your right hand. Some people are open and can roll all the way down. Again, they might have been doing yoga for a long time, or gymnastics, or have different flexibility patterns. Everybody is different. And every time of day and different day is different. Some days I am very flexible, and other days I can barely move. And rolling over to the other side. Left knee up. Let's bring it to our chest first. And then your left hand up. And then slowly bringing the left knee to wherever feels comfortable. Left knee, and then opening your left hand to the side of the room and gazing over your left fingers. And then might be bringing your knee down to the ground. If you're wearing a microphone pack, it can make it very awkward to try to roll those over to wherever feels comfortable to you. And tucking your toes behind the right knee can keep it so it doesn't feel like your leg's just floating in the air. And coming back to center. And then the most important pose of all yoga at any yoga class is a Shavasana. At Awaken Yoga, I don't generally put them in the end of my Vinyasa classes because people are generally time poor, so I have them in cooldowns. But for this class, if you can just stay down, keeping your hands up to the sky, and just breathe here. Dial into this moment, into your space, and feel connected to what you've achieved, to where you've moved through, to the sequences, to the space, to the time that you've taken for you. From this really nice summer's day here in Sydney, hopefully that summer energy is translating through. I'm not sure if the microphone cuts out all the cicadas, but there are so many out at the moment. But just stay here, connected into your space for as long as you need. I want to thank you for flowing with me, for coming on this journey with me, for ascending through the poses of yoga with me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Namaste.